start the recording here? Yes, it is. Hi, Natalie from Oakville Cyclepath. Where is Natalie? And so I love this. So the first question on the line already is, does Oakville Cyclepath sell used bikes? So then I'm going to go on to my question next.
I would say typically not. There are some circumstances that we will maybe have one or two in here. Typically it is new bikes though.
And what's your
brands we carry? Sorry?
What's a price point?
For a road bike, are you talking road bike drop bar handles? Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, like, so can you see this bike behind me? I kind of brought one up here with the drop handles like this.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So those start at about 1,000. And you can go as the limit, whatever your budget is. That's what I always say to customers. Yeah. And that's typically one of my first questions to them. I don't want to show them something that's out of their budget. And then it's like, oh, but I really like that bike, but it's way out of my price point. And then they kind of forget everything else they're looking.
It's like buying a wedding dress. Yeah.
Exactly. So it is a huge, unfortunately, it's one of my first questions because then I get a bike in mind. We carry Giant, Trek, and Argon. So I'll kind of grab a Giant and a Trek. And if we have the Argon as well, I'll show them kind of comparisons for all the three brands. I'll take them outside. They can ride it. Everybody's different. Everybody's shorter, longer, wherever, different parts of their body. So I'll have them ride the bike. And then we discuss it. We talk about it. What felt good? Which one did you like better? And then I can explain kind of why one felt better or worse than the other.
Okay. So somebody like me who has no idea what to buy, you would be able to find the right bike for me. And
100%. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And what I usually say too is that, so you have your budget, right, Kristen? And so you're going to have to remember that, you can't just walk out with your bike being bare. And what I mean by bare is that, you're going to want a water bottle holder and you're going to want to have like a little kit that you can attach to your bike. So are you going to have to remember, like, do you want to do that as like an add-on? Because a few of those things can add up, right, Natalie? Or
yeah, I would say budget yourself to spend an extra pedals. If you want flats, pedals, most of them come with a basic set of flat pedals. If you want to be clipped in, I always say kind of budget for yourself. If you come into the store having nothing, I would say you're going to spend an extra $200 to $500.
Okay.
And that's on the higher end. So,
and now the bike I have now, the guy, I bought a little kit that has what he says I need.
Is it one of these?
Yeah, and it's got like a canister in it and all that. So the only thing that I would have to switch out would really be the tire. Probably.
Okay.
Is that right? And the O2 canister, like all that stuff.
Oh, just the tube. So you have to put the tube that matches the size of your tire in here. Just the tube. Your tire is fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I make an appointment or do I just walk in and anybody
come on in?
Just make sure. I'll connect you guys later with Natalie. So because I think you want to go in when Natalie's working at the shop.
Yes.
Okay,
perfect.
So just to go a little bit step further. So Natalie, here's a scenario for you. So I've decided that I want to get a new bike. This is a scenario. I already have a couple, but I can always get more. And I don't know, how many bikes do you have, Natalie?
3.
3. Okay, you downsized.
I have. Are you proud of me?
So I want to get a bike, and I really like the pink bike over there, somewhere where you have the pink bike. But I've come to realize, because this actually happened to me, so that's why I give the circumstance, is that even though the bike is really pretty and really fancy, and that you're going to look so hot, especially like perhaps in your TriChicks outfit on this bike, is it really the bike frame for you? Does that make sense? So I'm not gonna say
100%.
when, but once I did get a new bike, and it was, I don't have that bike anymore. And that bike, I'm telling you, and I didn't come to Cyclepath, but we tried so many different ways to adjust the bike so it was a comfortable fit for me. We tried
Yep.
changing the stem, we tried changing the seat, like everything. So
Yep.
you got my question, right?
I get it, 100%. That's basically another, gosh, other than budget, it's, you know, I'm kind of standing beside someone and I say, how tall are you anyway? They tell me 5'7". You can actually go to Trek's website, Giant's website. I'll go to the bike that I'm having, you know, that we're speaking about. Look at the size, there's a size chart. And I typically want them to be in the middle of that size range. So if you're at the top end of an extra small, I'm going to discuss with you, do you want to be aggressively set up? Do you want to be slammed down? And do you want to be, you know, in a super aggressive race stance? If you do, then I'm going to try you on that extra small. If you want to be a bit more comfortable, then we're going to put you on the small frame. So there is a huge, you know, you can be at the top end of an extra small. Typically, I size up.
Okay.
Because it's a lot easier. Obviously, if a bike is too small for you, it's really hard to adjust things. You can get a longer stem, but then is that going to even you out proportionally anyway? So I'll size up a little bit if you're the top end of a size range. So depending on your size, typically a medium frame for Giant or Live starts at about 5'7".
Okay.
But yes, if you come in and we put you on a small, and again, I have people try bikes. I'm outside.
Yeah.
I'm watching them. I watch the way they ride. I'm also noting to myself, okay, you know what? They look like they're really reaching. So maybe they're shorter torso, longer leg. Yeah. I would suggest, hey, let's go inside. I'm going to grab a mechanic. We're going to put a shorter stem on this bike. And then that person's going to be like, wow, you know, I have more control. I'm not going to have a sore lower back because I'm really reaching to reach my brakes or my shifting. So a lot of these things come into play when you buy a bike from us. We size you on that correctly.
Yeah. And would you say that different bike company frames fit differently?
100%. That's why I take, this is your budget. This is how you want to ride. Let's bring this Trek and this Giant outside. We're going to take them for a ride. You're going to tell me, oh, this one felt really weird. And there's honestly, people will get up, no, this one felt way better than this one because of A, B, and C. And then that's when I kind of discuss with them, maybe why. Sometimes the Trek fits shorter. Even some of the bars, like companies stock a bike with a bar that's too wide.
Yes.
So
okay.
that can be a play too. Imagine riding your bike like this versus you riding comfortably within your shoulders.
So one of the bikes that I have is a Trek women's frame.
Okay.
So you knew that, right? That Trek has
yes,
like women's.
They don't. So Trek's gone away from women specific. They're now unisex. Okay. And they'll do from like a 49 centimeter up to like a 61. So typically anything smaller than a 52, yeah, they will put a narrower bar on like a 50 centimeter and a 49 centimeter.
Okay.
Kind of
that's what I'm
making it more female friendly.
Yeah.
Versus Giant has Live, they have their women specific. Yeah. They now get into female saddles.
Okay, let's talk saddles.
Yeah, so saddles. I know Nancy was mentioning something about how do you know if it's the right saddle for you? And B, it's hard. Saddles are difficult. Everybody's built differently. We want to sit differently. My main thing is pay attention when you're riding. Are you pushing yourself back all the time? Or are you shimmying when you get on and you want to be closer? Pay attention to those things. Because your saddle could be the right saddle for you. It just needs to be maybe slid forward on the rails. A seat can go forward and back. So you want to kind of like, when you come into me and you say, you know, my saddle's not right, I'm going to ask you kind of a few questions like, why And then I'm going to talk to you about it. Also, different saddles have, as you can, I don't know if you can see it, but this kind of has a curve here.
Ooh,
So
fancy.
sometimes people like to sit in that, and that's dependent on where they're sitting, right? But some people like to be back here. So that's where we're going to start playing around with that. And again, you bring your bike in, I'm going to take you outside. We can play around with that, find your optimal, or you can go something like it is flat. So depending on kind of where you are and where you, when you ride, everybody's
And where your sit
it's
bones
different.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
other thing,
that's
the other thing I found,
the note.
Natalie, is over the years is somebody can be really complaining about their seat a lot, and it's just like,
Yep.
it's not comfortable. I need a new seat, or it's not comfortable. I
Yep.
need to adjust it. And then
Yep.
there can be circumstances where it may just be the pants they're wearing.
My another question is too, how old are your shorts? And how old is the saddle? When I start to realize, okay, I'm sore on my saddle. Oh my gosh, you know what? This is from 4 bikes ago, and I just keep swapping the same saddle because I love it so much. It's amazing. But if you start sitting on this and it's sinking, you're basically sitting on the rails. So that's another question. And yes, I have the same pair of shorts. I probably have 10 of them because I love the chamois so much. And I forget which one's new, which one's old. I go on for a ride and I'm like, oh, these are the old ones. So another thing, like pay attention to kind of, okay, what shorts was I wearing?
Exactly.
And why was that bothering me? Because it could honestly be that your shorts, they're just done. We ride a lot.
Yeah.
Time to say goodbye. Also, I don't know
So
if anyone uses it. I'm
sometimes,
not saying you have to.
yeah,
Chamois cream,
yes, but
lovely little piece of equipment.
sometimes, yeah, I've talked to people that they just go to like an average bike shop. They haven't gone to Cyclepath, and they just bought a pair of shorts. So
Yep.
it could be unisex shorts, right? But again, just the simplest thing, like the type of manufacturing of the short, like where the stitching is, can
Yep.
just hit us women, because we're all women online here now,
Yep.
in the most sensitive spots. And so you're sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. It's getting a little bit more uncomfortable, like as we add in the miles, right? Does that make sense to you guys, ladies?
Yeah.
Anyone ever experienced that?
If you compare, did you want me to go grab a, hold on.
Hold on. Hey Val, how's it going? Did you have any questions, Michelle? I know I always put you on the spot.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at
Chamois. If we compare a women's chamois, I don't know if you can all see this, but typically they do go narrower in here, larger in the back. We have less, yeah, we'll have less up front because of the way we sit. We really only sit probably in this section right here, this small section right here. And we do want that narrower. You don't want it larger because then there's more things that can rub.
Yeah.
That's honestly chafing. We've all gotten in the shower after a long ride when we didn't realize, and you're like, okay, yep, chafed on those shorts, and it wasn't fun. Then you get into the males. Like I said, if you can, female shorts are needed. Look how high this comes up now. The men's, and they're so much wider here. It's just honestly, if you can, yeah. And I try them on. I know we're all in a busy point in our lives, but try them on and see which ones you want them to be snug. You don't want them, these are not going to be like your regular everyday shorts that you wear around your house or out with your kids. These are going to be tight. I always say that. They're like, oh, they're so tight. I'm like, good. That's what you want. You want them to be tight because the tighter they are, the less they're shifting around.
Yeah.
That's what we want. I know.
Yeah.
Everyone comes in, oh, this top. And I'm like, well, you don't want to be a sale. So that's how we got to get our bodies are beautiful. We're wearing it.
How about you, Jen?
I always say that.
Jen, you have any questions for Natalie? You're good? So Natalie, we already established that on our bike, we're gonna have or Kirsten's definitely gonna come to the shop, and she said she's already got I still call it the bento box. That's your box with all your little supplies in there.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit more about what you recommend just for having our supplies, because you know Kristen's going to go for a bike ride by herself, and we don't want anything to happen to her, and everything's bike safety. I called it.
Yep. First thing, you want to have a flat kit on your, even if you can't change a flat tire, you want to have it on you. You want to at least get it started if you can. I mean, we all carry our phones with us now, hopefully, when we go on a bike ride.
I'd say definitely we need to.
You could definitely check in on YouTube. How to change a flat tire. Yeah. Get it started at least. Typically, someone will, hopefully, stop and say, are you okay? And, you know, maybe you can say, I'm just kind of stuck on this part. I can't get this going. If you have CAA as well, CAA will now help a cyclist on the side of the road, give them air. Most of them are now trained to do flat tires on bikes.
And we have,
I don't know how extensive, but they will help.
Yeah. And we have such an amazing cycling community. Like, trust me, if you're out there and someone's
I've never been on the side of the road where a cyclist group or whatever, you okay? You good? You okay? Oh,
yeah.
We're not. We're probably freaking out. But typically, someone will ask you. I've even had a guy just throw a tube at me. Oh, you don't have a tube? Here, can't stop it. Here's a tube. I'm like, that's it, right? He can't stop, but he knows I just need a tube. So honestly, if you can have one of these guys, multi-tool, just in case something comes loose. You don't want to be riding along and God forbid your front end, your headset comes loose.
I've seen people lose their seats.
Any of this type comes loose. You don't want to be going down a hill with loose handlebars. So these definitely will tighten anything. Most of 4, 5, and 6, I want to say, will tighten pretty much everything on your bike. Even if your seat comes loose, you can tighten those as well. At least it will get you home. That's what I always say. Just at that point, you're like, I'm going to head home. I don't feel so good about this.
So that's that comes with the pipe, but does it come with CO2 as well?
Yes, I have 2 versions here. In case you're not comfortable with CO2, you do have a pump version that this goes where your water bottle cage is. They basically take off the water bottle cage. This goes underneath, put the cage back on, so you still have your water bottle cage.
Has anyone ever had to use their CO2?
Again, I want to talk to you. I was going to talk to Nancy, but yeah, we'll set up a flat clinic. I do those as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll figure it out. If you're comfortable with CO2, takes a little bit more practice, but honestly, it's a good tool to have in your tool belt to know how to use one.
And I would suggest having 2 CO2 with you, because
100%.
This one, maybe you just didn't get it right.
Right. Also, lights, people, even during the day, cars are not really paying attention to their surroundings as much as they used to. Even during the day, have lights on you, because even if they aren't paying attention, it brings their eye. Oh, what's that light? Oh, it brings their eyes up. Okay. And it could save your life. Lights are.
I was surprised. I had a bike fit at Purex with my crappy bike that I bought, and they gave me everything, but he actually, the container he got for me said he put it on, it's under my seat. And I go, well, isn't that blocking my light? And he goes, those lights are useless. Those reflector lights, he goes, where they are, he says, there's really no point. He goes, you need to buy the ones that attach to, like the ones that already come with it, the cheap ones. He said, those are kind of useless. You need to buy the good ones that flash and all that. Yes. So I was surprised.
And probably won't do much.
Yeah, so I was kind of though surprised. I had no idea, and now that I've actually paid attention to cyclists, I
Yep.
noticed that, but I don't actually see the ones that they actually have on their bikes.
Yes.
They're not bright enough. So
Yes.
he
You
said to
definitely
get
want
those.
one with, I always say flashing, because it brings, oh, that flashing light. We're all used to the orange lights that are on work trucks or whatever, but we're not, a red flashing light. It's like, oh, what's that? And it brings people's eyes up.
Yeah.
Also, if you keep it on flashing, you typically it lasts longer. Your battery will last longer leaving your light on flashing. If you look at the back of any packaging, typically when you leave it in flash mode, it lasts longer. So
And
I'm
then
most
contact,
surprised, I'm
if
most
you like,
surprised by the number of people who don't have a rear flashing light. It just, like, I
and you
mean,
know what, on it,
it's
and
more important than a front one, in my opinion.
it happens. Sometimes I've been riding, I got home and I'm like, oh, lost my light. Yeah, but yes, typically if I'm out, I have a light, and I've even, people have stopped me on Burloak and they're like, wow, your light's great. I saw it down there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They saw it. That's all I want. I want people to see that I'm there, because I try to wear bright clothing, but typically sometimes
Yeah, but
And
you might just go for a bike ride and then something happens or you get
Yep.
stuck and then you have to ride home when it's lighter than you expected.
Yeah.
Later than
that one you were showing, Natalie, that's one like I had off of you, the Bone Traeger Flare, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really good light at a good price point. Like, it's not too expensive, but it's a good investment, and it's very bright. Like, the red is good.
And
yeah,
think
Trek
of-
has what they call daytime flashing.
Mhm.
They've got it where it adjusts. In the daytime, it's bright. You can still see it even during the daytime. I commute to work 2 times a week when it's nicer out, and this is all I need on my light. I do have a brighter one for when I'm coming home to see through Bronte Creek when I'm riding
Yeah.
through there.
Yeah, and think of everything as really an investment. So if you get a
100%.
bike, you can move it over to your other bike, right? And the other piece of information I wanted to bring up was road ID. So, like Natalie said, we have our phones, right? So, say, something happened, we have our
100%.
phones, but, think about a way that you're going to have identification on your body, whether it's on your wrist that you wear it all the time, or your ankle, or in that I still call it a bento box, in your little flat pack or whatever you call it.
Yep.
So has anyone thought about that, or does anyone have that already?
Yeah. I don't have one of those road IDs, but I do put my ID in my little pack kind of thing. But God forbid something should happen. But there was a gentleman last summer who did get hit, and he was unconscious. And the police, I guess other cyclists had come by or whatever, and he didn't have any ID on him, so they had no clue who he was.
Yeah, I can't
But luckily he had a unique bike, and cyclists being who they are, pictures got shared with a bike shop I think it was a bike shop in Toronto, and they were able to figure out who he was based on his bike. But I mean, not everybody has like a rare bike or whatever. But yeah, that was a situation where the guy was unconscious and they had no idea who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone told me just to put like a photocopy of my health card.
Yep.
In it. Yeah.
Said so well from the nurse.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about the actual card, right? Just put it in.
Exactly.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
I would suggest, if you can, keep it on your body, because sometimes your bike could be over there, and you could be on the stretcher.
Yeah.
So if you have a bike shirt, keep it in your bike pocket, because they will check your pockets and your wrist and whatever, versus like, go check her bike that's over in the ravine, so I'm sure they would get to it, but yeah, if you can keep it on your body, that's even easier, right?
I have the road ID, like one of the little tags made, and it just fits right on your band of your Fitbit or your Garmin or whatever, and it has all the contact information.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
Amazing. I also kind of wanted to chat with everybody, just kind of show you my favorite pieces, and you don't have to get these. I just have like, I want to say 4 main pieces that I love, and I don't have a lot of them, but I love them for their functionality. Arm warmers are great because you start out at 7 in the morning and then by 10 o'clock it's boiling hot. You take these off, they're super small, you stick them in your back pocket, don't have to see them again. Again, I don't have 100 pairs of them, but it's a really good investment. And then they do have leg warmers as well. Same thing, small enough you can bunch them up into a ball, and these can go in your back pocket. Super small, super easy, and we all run probably, I'm assuming. Buff, huge piece. I love. Again, it's hot, it's cold in the morning. Oh my gosh, now I'm boiling hot. Take it off, or just kind of shove it under my shirt a bit more. Same thing with gloves. Again, you start out, you're freezing cold, and then you're boiling. Those go in your back pocket for fun. Another piece too is a vest. I'm probably a vestaholic, and I have a lot of these. Again, a small piece, and most of them have a little zipper, wraps into itself, gone. I don't need it anymore. But in the fall or like early spring mornings, I will start with one of these, a jersey, arm warmers. Typically, sometimes if I don't need my arm warmers, I literally sometimes will just fold them down.
Yeah.
And then they're just still on my arms, and I'm like, I'm okay, and I get to work and they're gone. But a vest is a nice little piece to have. It's actually warmer than you think, because think about it, all the wind is kind of coming right here and you're not really moving. My legs typically don't need anything. Or if you're run colder, a wind jacket. These guys are warmer than they look. They're super thin, but keeping that wind off you really does thing. And again, they pack up like nothing, so they're great. I think, and I did actually bring another saddle to show you guys. For people who don't want, I want to call them more harder saddles. They do have like the women specific as well, has a little cutout, and they do have a little bit more cushion to them. Cushion isn't always the best for some people, but others do appreciate it. So that's another option too, is you don't have to go for those like super thin, hard saddles. So you do have an option to get a little bit more
for.
That's airflow.
Oh, okay.
In the summer, just in the summer, it's nice and cool. You got a little air going on down there. Okay. It's cooling. It really is. Yeah, and you know what? It's just nice to have something. Then again, like some people just don't like the cutout just because the way it sits, where you're sitting. So it's always a trial and error. You can always come in, we can pop this off. I can pop it on your bike and go in the parking lot. You kind of know pretty soon if a saddle is not right for you. All right.
Cool.
Have my big thing. Does anyone have any more questions for me? I'm in the store. I can literally run to anything in like 2 seconds.
Thanks, Natalie, for being at the store. She's not working tonight. She's got the whole store to herself. She can do handstands.
No boys.
No boys. Turn the music up.
So yeah, if you have any questions about like anything, I'm here. I can grab anything, shoes, helmets. Are you curious, like, how old's your helmet? That's another thing too. Look at your helmet, because people come in here all the time. Oh yeah, my helmet's fine. It's from, that's from like 2001. I'm like, well, 5 years typically is the rule. Or if you crash on your helmet, typically that's been structurally it's not sound. So you want to look at that as well.
Yeah. Pass that information along, please. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question about shoes. So it seems, again, I'm new to this. It seems like at least once in your life you have a crash. And because Oh, okay. So that's good to know. So when I have my first one, I won't be embarrassed. Okay.
Oh,
because
gosh.
I keep hearing, it seems, I think last summer, there were at least 3 people in our group were like, oh yeah, I need a couple weeks off because I crashed. And that's terrifying to me. But
I also, I don't like to call them crashes. They're actually very slow falls.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah. Like I've never fallen while I'm riding. It's always like, come to a stop sign, talking to my buddy. Oh God, I'm gonna fall. And you see it coming. It comes. It's just, oh, I'm going down. It's
Okay.
a very slow fall, and it happens. I
I've
tell
done-
that
I've done
whenever
that twice.
anyone goes to clipless, I'm like, they're like, am I gonna fall? And I'm like, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie to you.
Once
So
I
that's
did
why-
it right in front of
I did.
Copper Kettle, in front of a whole pile of cyclists
Yeah,
sitting
I
outside
stopped
having their
at the
coffee.
YMCA. I was like, stopped at the Y. All my friends were there. I'm like, I'm going down.
Okay. So that's what's kind of stopped me from doing the clip-ons. Because right now I just have normal, but I understand that it would make my life easier cycling if I
100%.
have clip-in.
There is
But,
a pedal. 1 second.
Okay. I was gonna say, is there like baby steps to clip in, or should I just go full clip in and just accept that I will fall?
There is a pedal.
Fall
I
for
don't know
like
if you
3 years.
Can you see
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
Can you see this? Okay. So there's a pedal that is flat on one side, clip on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you're starting, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do one side. I always say too, like if you're unsure, kind of like I like to call it like the hover. One side is clipped in, the other one is not. Maybe.
Yeah.
Getting used to that. How I learned was I sat and leaned on my garage door and just did the motion, in, out, in, out, in, out, like for I don't know how long. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go around the block. Came to a tree. I'm gonna stop at that tree. I always tell people just plan what you're doing. There's a stop sign coming. Okay, you can even unclip one side.
Yeah.
Remember, I always say do the right side, because then if you do fall, you're falling away from traffic.
Okay.
You don't want to fall into the road. We've had that before when someone's fallen into the road. There's a car coming. I pulled a whole girl and her bike. So if you can, again, if you have knee issues and the left side is it, that's just you. But, just kind of pay attention. There's a stop sign coming. Unclip your right side. You can still pedal. You're still pedaling. You're good. You've got your left side. Unclip, come to the stop, and you're planning ahead. So that's exactly what you can do with if you don't want to be committed, and you go to a mountain bike cleat, which is looks like this. You can see that. Mountain bike cleats are easier to clip in and out of. You can loosen them off, but you can loosen road pedals off as well. So whenever anyone says this is my first time, I loosen up their pedals right away, put a little bit of lube in there, nice and easy peasy, and you can learn.
Yeah, my clips are fairly loose. Like I can wiggle my toe a little bit. So if I need to take my foot out, it's not hard to take it out at all.
Yeah, they do. I always tell people it gets easier as you go. It's spring loaded. So the more you're using that spring, it starts to back off a little bit as you use it more. And you just, eventually now when I'm riding, I'm just coming out. I'm like, oh, I didn't plan on that, but I'm just doing it. So maybe I need to tighten my nerve a little, probably. So
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, and if you guys have a trainer, you put your clip pedals on, get on your trainer and practice that motion. That way, when you do get out on the road, you're used to it. You're used to the motion.
That's awesome.
Don't be afraid.
Do you guys have any more questions for Natalie? We covered a lot.
I did. Sorry.
No, it's great. Love it.
No, don't apologize. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And Christy, you don't have to worry about the pedals, just practice. And there's, a lot of people have had different scenarios. Like, yeah, you just keep one clipped in and the other one out, sitting on top. Yeah. Or I always like to, you always have to be aware, like Natalie said, if you see the stop sign coming up, like don't wait for the last minute. Because and
yeah,
get in that.
It's always like that don't panic moment. Yeah. You can circle back, come back. Okay, now I'm gonna unclip. Obviously if there isn't a car coming or whatever, but
we all have a story to tell, right, Jen?
Oh God,
we all
got millions.
Yeah,
millions. Yeah, it's all good.
I can't wait for my first fall so I can join the group.
Whoa. It was
like an initiation,
like Natalie said.
I can call myself a real, you know, it'll be a real triathlete if I actually have a fall. So
Yeah,
okay,
we
that's
got
good. All right.
we got booties for a reason. Just get that booty down and you're
Oh
good.
yeah, lots of padding, no problem there.
Exactly. That's what I use mine for. It's all good. All good.
That's good.
Michelle, are you good? Do you have any questions?
Anything. Anything.
No, honestly, I think I'm good. Like I was going to ask about the pedals as well, because
Yeah.
I too have been hesitant to make that step. So I had heard about the half flat, half clip in before. So I think that might be a good way to start. And then any shoe, like any road bike shoe, will fit that style of pedal, or do you need to be
if you're doing the half, it has to be a mountain bike shoe.
Oh, it has to be a mountain bike shoe. Okay.
Which is fine because and I still know a lot of people that are, when they're doing triathlon, they prefer a mountain bike shoe because you can walk and run on it so much easier because the cleat is recessed into the shoe a little bit.
Okay. Okay, so there'll be no difference as far as like riding or whatever. It's
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I have mountain bike cleats on my gravel bike, and I have ridden stupid amounts, long, like 24 hours on a mountain bike cleat.
Okay. That's good to know.
That was fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Catherine, you got
Anyone else? Love questions. I love them.
I was just gonna say, I'm definitely interested in the like a lesson or a class on changing a tire, because I've
Yeah.
never done that before. So yeah, that's definitely something that I'd be interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, Nancy and I will chat and we'll talk and we'll figure out some dates.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
Mhm.
we all need that.
Yeah. Typically when I do it, I have a bike here and everybody practices taking the back tire off and on, because that is
Yeah.
typically
That's scenario
everybody's fear.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's fear is taking that back tire off because it's like, oh, the gears and this, and I don't know where to put that. So honestly, we'll get that. Everyone can do it as many times as they need to. And by the time everyone leaves here, they're like, oh yeah, I could totally do that.
It's a good skill to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have only had to change a flat once in the time since I started with you, Nancy. Once.
And you never know. I mean,
Right.
there's been times where you've heard about people like in triathlon races, they get to their bikes and they're like, uh-oh, I got a flat.
Yeah.
And I am finishing this bike. It is going to happen today, this race.
Yep.
I'm not going to
Yep.
quit just because
Yep.
I have a flat tire. I am going to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
I
And
did a
typically,
race
if you know
once.
how to do it and you're on the road with some people and maybe somebody kind of knows how to do it, it's nice to kind of just like calm each other down. We'll do this together, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Whatever step you remember that they may forget, it's great.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's great, Natalie. Thank you for setting that up. We'll figure out a date.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. no problem.
Yeah, yay! And also, we can all see each other.
Yes.
And
I know.
if
You know
we're
what
at
I
the
was.
shop, we can we'll go blah bling, blah bling, blah bling. Right?
Exactly. Totally.
Okay, so does anyone have anything else for Natalie before
Nada.
we're good?
Good job, Nats.
Thanks,
As
man.
always, Natalie, you're the best.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
You're
This was
great.
fun. I'm glad
So happy
I
to see
get to show
everybody.
you guys my favorite stuff.
It
Yeah,
is.
it was awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Bye.